Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Pardon Our Picks, where perfection is a work in progress. I am your host, Sam. Alongside me, of course, is my co-host, Tarek. How you doing tonight?
All right, Sam, I'm doing pretty well. How you doing?
Doing all right. Doing okay. This this cat this video is, of course, brought to you by Morning Wood Crafter, inspired by design, crafted by hand. Go ahead and check out their website, morningwoodcrafter.com, to check out what they got. So, we have another exciting week in the banks. A couple of exciting games last week. So let's get right into it, I guess. So last week
Yeah.
we didn't do as good as we usually do, which is unfortunate because
Give me the one.
I did come out on top by 9-7. It was the Dallas game was the difference.
Ah,
Yes, because I picked the Seattle Seahawks to beat
because
my
you
Dallas
didn't
Cowboys.
pick yourself.
Did, and I was almost wrong. So, but for the year, I am 32-16. Tarek, of course, 29-19, close, right behind me.
I'm right behind you.
Yes,
One week, and we could just flip it.
exactly. One good week for you, and it's a different ball game. So,
So I want to talk about because you texted me about this, and I had to laugh out loud. This is just be one of our recaps, one of our quick recaps to touch on from last week. You texted me that the one game that we joked about tying, tied.
yes,
Like how that doesn't happen. Like we should like send that in the sports center or whatever. Like, see, we got it right.
there may be some trademark issues with that, but that would be hilarious.
hmm
Yeah, but the Philadelphia Eagles and the Bengals, of course, neither of them wanted to win last week, so ended up as a tie. It's just sad, really, that neither team could get into field goal range to win that game. As we
Exactly.
change our venues,
Yes. Just
so
moving over.
no worries. So Tarek, let us start with your game of the week.
All right. So my game of the week is, I believe I picked New England and Kansas City. I believe that's the one I picked.
I believe you're right, sir.
Going through my notes. Lot going on. So yeah, no one really stood out this week. The Thursday night game, even though I have a vested interest in that one, none of the other games really stuck out to me. Despite the fact that Tom Brady's no longer with New England, they're continuing to do well with Cam Newton. We're seeing life out of him a little bit more than we saw the last couple of years with Carolina, and I think that's going to give. I don't think they're going to win. But I think it's going to be the best game of the week.
I agree. This game is going to be among the better games because Cam Newton he's kind of hard to contain inside the pocket. He does like to run a little bit, so he's a mobile quarterback, kind of like Lamar is. But I think that the offensive line for the Patriots is a little more healthy
Mm-hmm.
than Baltimore offensive line. Of course,
Yes.
Kansas City gave it to Baltimore last week, so
Oh,
it
absolutely.
it's going to be a very interesting game this week. And who do you have prevailing?
I believe, and I'm checking my notes on this, I believe I have Kansas City. Yes, I do. I have Kansas City winning that.
Kansas City pulling out the victory at home. I second that notion. Kansas City is going to go 4-0.
Yeah, you got
Oh,
you. I mean, watching the Baltimore game Monday night, and like you got to get, and their O line is just phenomenal, and you got to get pressure on him to get him to stop, and he has all the time in the world, and he's mobile enough, even if you manage to get something on him. So I don't think New England, in the midst of some of their rebuilding, have that kind of intensity that they need to bring that to the house.
now Belichick, of course, is a pretty darn good coach, so he should be able to dial something up. But even under pressure last week, Pat Mahomes. Patrick. Sorry. Don't say Pat.
Can't say
He
Pat.
doesn't say Pat.
His mom got mad. You cannot
His
say
mom
Pat.
don't want you to say Pat. Patrick Mahomes, he still threw at least 2 touchdowns and had a heck of a completion percentage under duress when they were blitzing. So that doesn't phase him either. So you gotta mix it up. You gotta find ways to get to him. Gotta find ways to win. Belichick might be able to do that, but I don't think he's gonna this week. So, all right, now let's get into Thursday night football with the Denver Broncos against the New York Jets, the 0-3 Bowl.
Yeah, if you asked me at the beginning of the season, I would not have guessed that both of these teams would be 0-3. Maybe the Jets, but I did not think, especially with all the off-season work and everything, that Denver would be 0-3 going into this. So someone's got to win. So it's interesting. I did read they're not starting. The Broncos are starting Brett Ripien. They're not starting Boyles. They're not starting or Bortles. They're not starting. What's his name? I can't remember his name that played Sunday. They're starting the guy they pulled up from the practice squad. They're trying to find some kind of niche to be able to get that edge in that quarterback position. We'll see if it works. I have Denver to pick to go to win this one out. I think they have a few more weapons than New York does. But we'll see.
Well, given that information, I did not know that they had their practice squad quarterback as a starter this week. Even before that, though, with their backup, the backup didn't do too bad.
He didn't do too bad, but
you're right. Somebody has to win, and I have the Jets getting their first victory this week. Although it is going to be a close game that I'm probably not going to watch.
Low scoring. I'll probably we'll be just getting home from our evening out tomorrow, doing our own sports. So I'll catch it probably in the second quarter on, but I'll watch it just because Broncos fan. But it's going to be interesting. And then I found out. This is just a side note, just going on the sports. You got Sammy there?
No, that was my sister's dog, Dobby.
Does Dobby love Harry Potter?
Got a sock. He's free.
I was finding out apparently that Denver's got a bunch of inner office woes because the owner Pat Bowlen died, which we know. But apparently they're trying to give it to the daughter who was there for the day-to-day operations, and the siblings want a part of it, and they've never done anything with it. So they got it. So that's causing some turmoil with how the rest of the coaching stuff is working. And then I'm not a fan of Vic Fangio. He doesn't have the edge I feel like you need to have for a head coach. He's had some time management issues. He's had some other stuff going on. He's not like going for it. Like they've been close to winning, not as much this week, but week 1 and week 2 they were a lot closer to winning, like maybe 1 score, and he's not going for that knockout punch.
Right.
So I had a thought, complete speculation on my my part, because I was watching the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's like on the radar right now, and they talked about he's probably going to get a head coaching job, and I was like, ooh, how good would that be? We actually get someone with some fight in him. Yeah. Get rid of Fangio after this season and get I can't think of his name for the life of me. But he had an intensity during that Monday night game. He screamed at players. He ripped his mask off. And I'm like, okay, if he's up, that'll be good. Okay.
You know, I think that he would. I think he's going to make a pretty good coach. Although he could turn it to be like a Mike Singletary type, where he's all bark and it's just no bite. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But as good as the offense has been for Kansas City, you can only hope.
Yeah. All right, we move on to the next next game we have on the slate is the Cleveland Browns at the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys with a close loss last week to the Seattle Seahawks. The Browns over 500 for the first time in like 7 years.
Yeah, that's your sleeper pick. The ones you picked to be the surprise this year.
I did indeed. Well, it was 7 teams, you know. Somebody was going to get.
Yeah. So, all right, with this one, I'm going to continue. This is Dallas at home. I think they got, we talk about this chip on the shoulder when teams that are expected to do a little better are underperforming or whatever. I think they're going to come home with a chip on their shoulder, want to win at home. I think Dallas is going to win this.
Dallas's defense has been pretty porous for most of the year. They've given up 30 points just about everybody they've played this year so far. Cleveland has been pretty dumb, pretty good in their 2 wins. I mean, they beat the Bengals. It was a close game, and then last week they won as well. So I mean, they're not a bad team. They could surprise some people, but they're not going to surprise the Cowboys this week. Cowboys going to win at home. Go Cowboys 2-2. All right. Of course, we have the hometown Ravens, who was on the other end of the Kansas City beatdown last week on Monday, playing the Washington football team that is 1-2.
Yeah, so, and you don't see this matchup a lot in regular season. I know, like, the only time they ever seem to play is every preseason, which we didn't have this year. And then whenever those divisions wrap around and cycle through. So, I mean, it's one of those that you expect to have that local rivalry, like Ravens have with the Steelers, or you got some of the California teams that duke it out, and the Giants and Jets tend to go at it. But that never seems to work. And with this, I don't see any more of it. I think it's just going to be pretty dominant on the Ravens side. I think the Ravens are going to pull it out.
I think those rivalries are also predicated on both the teams being at least at equal level of skill, and the Redskin and the Washington team is never at that level.
It hasn't been that level in our lifetime. So.
Yes, early 90s, that was it. They haven't really think since. They might have made the playoffs once or twice, but I mean, sun shines on the dog's butt every once in a while. It ain't going to shine on them this weekend. Baltimore's going to win this one. They're angry. They're mad. They're ready. Baltimore for the victory.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on to a 2-1 Colts team playing a surprising 3-0 Chicago Bears team. Who's going to start at quarterback for the Bears this week? Is it Trubisky? Is it Foles?
That is a good question. Foles did a surprisingly good job with that game last week. And this is a Colts team still trying to figure themselves out. I went against my team and went with Chicago because Chicago is you got the record there, 3-0, 2-1. I think it's going to be a good game if Chicago can show up like they did and Colts continue to improve. But I think Chicago at home is just going to pull it out just a little bit more than Indy is.
Indianapolis defense has been pretty dominant the past couple weeks. They held the Vikings to, I think, 9 points last week, and they just... Oh, wait, it wasn't the Giants. It wasn't the Vikings. It was... They played the Jets last week. My bad. And they absolutely went ham all over them. Interceptions, touchdowns, sacks, fumbles. They had it all last week. Chicago had to come from behind in the fourth quarter to beat the team that they beat last week. Which, I mean, even with Foles, who for some reason seems to do better when he comes in from a backup role.
Mm-hmm.
No freaking clue why that is.
Yeah, this is like the second time he's done that because he did that to have the Eagles win the Super Bowl.
And he used to do that. He actually did that initially for the Eagles and then went to Kansas City because he was a backup in Philadelphia originally.
You're right. I do remember that.
Did terrible as a starter in Kansas City. Went back to the Eagles, and then as a backup role took him to the Super Bowl. It's just he's a conundrum. You know, he did good.
It's kind of like the Bledsoe principle. I talked about this years ago. Bledsoe would lead a team, and then whenever he would get replaced, that replacement quarterback would do amazing. He did that for the Patriots. He did that for the Cowboys. I think he did it for one other team. Like, he would go in and then get replaced, and that team would start winning.
I think he also played in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a difference there, I think. Bledsoe maybe was able to coach up those players. He went around and made the players behind him better. Foles has gone around to other places like Bortles, Gardner Minshew last year. You got Mitch Trubisky ahead of him this year. So I don't think people are making him better. I think he's just rising to the challenge. And I have Indianapolis winning this one. So I predict them to go 3-1 and give the Bears their first loss.
All right.
All right. Now we come to our only 3-0 game, 3-0 versus 3-0, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Tennessee Titans. Of course, the Titans this week did test positive for COVID, 3 of their players. They are postponing the game to possibly Monday or Tuesday. And if it gets worse than what it currently is, it might be even longer. This might end up being their bye week. Maybe push it back later. So, if the game does get played, who do you think wins?
I think Pittsburgh's gonna do it. I think Pittsburgh's got a few more pieces put together. Tennessee keeps trying to ride on the heels of Henry to get anything done. And I think Steelers, Pittsburgh's got too much experience, too many weapons. I think they're gonna do it.
Pittsburgh has the opportunity to practice all week, and if this game does get played this week, Tennessee is not going to be able to get back to their facility until Saturday. So I think the lack of time is going to make them a bit more rusty, make it harder for them, and I'd have Pittsburgh in this game as well. All right, let's go to our final game of the week. We have the 3-0 Buffalo Bills, who probably was up big, came back from a deficit after the Rams took the lead late in the game to win that game with 3 seconds left in the game. And then you have the 2-1 Las Vegas Raiders.
So I'm going to go with, I don't have a whole lot of explanation for this. I'm going to go with Buffalo. You have the Browns as your sleeper team. I got Buffalo as mine. And Raiders, while they're doing well for their premier season in Las Vegas, I think they just, I think the Bills are just going to power through this one.
Buffalo's played a lot of close games. They've won a lot of really close games against not always great talent. The Jets was kind of a close game. Last week was a close game against an unbeaten Rams team. But the Vegas Raiders, they did go into New England last week and lose. I think this week Buffalo goes into Vegas and actually gets a decent-sized victory. So Buffalo for the win as they circle the wagons. All right. Now we're going to go to our segment called Quick Hitters. We're going to just give you the winners of each of these games. We're going to run through them real quick. So let's start with New Orleans at the Lions.
All right, I got New Orleans.
I also have New Orleans in this game. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the 0-2-1 Bengals.
I think the Bengals are going to get the first win. Bengals got it.
I have the Bengals in this one, too, after their tie last week. The 3-0 Seattle Seahawks, who came from behind to win last week, against the 1-2 Dolphins.
I think they're going to continue their win streak. I think Seattle's got this.
Seattle for me as well. The 1-2 LA Chargers against the 2-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think Tom Brady's going to pull this one out, too. Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay for me as well. Tom Brady's got more experience on his side. Arizona Cardinals with a loss last week, playing against the 1-2 Panthers.
I got Arizona.
I also have Arizona going in there and winning. The 0-3, the second 0-3 bowl for the week, the Vikings against the Houston Texans.
I'm giving it to Houston with the home field advantage here.
I, too, am giving it to Houston simply because Vikings they're terrible without Stephon Diggs. The New York Giants 0-3 against the 2-1 Rams.
Yep, I think this is. I think the. Blah, 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 I know words. I think the record shows it. I'm going with LA.
LA Rams for the win. I have the same. All right, Sunday night football. This one's going to be exciting. The 0-2-1 Philadelphia Eagles against the 2-1 San Francisco Hobbles.
Yeah, I think even hobbling, I think San Francisco is going to beat Philadelphia.
I have San Francisco in this one. It's going to be close. Probably going to be low scoring. And on to Monday night, the 0-3 Bad News Falcons against the 3-0 Green Bay Packers.
Is this even a question? Green Bay at home.
I actually thought about picking Atlanta in this one because they've been so close the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, but not close enough for Green Bay.
Green Bay's too good. Green Bay for the victory. All right, that's it for this week, folks. Thank you for watching, and if you think we did wrong, want to pick against us, put it in the comments. But don't forget, of course, to tune in next week for week 5 of Pardon Our Picks.
Yeah, make sure you like that video so we know you like it. Subscribe so you get when we update them, usually Wednesday nights. All right, guys?
Yes, absolutely. So that way you're on the cutting room floor once it's popped up. So for Pardon Our Picks, I'm Sam.
I'm Tarek.
And you have a great football week.
Have fun, guys.